請透過 patreon.com/edchin 或者 giftandgo.com/safehk 支持我哋嘅製作同埋背後嘅工作，捍衛最後自由。大家好啊！依家係星期五，美國加拿大東岸時間，咁喺香港依家係去到星期六嘅一早啦。咁收睇緊嘅係 Edchin World 世界頻道同埋 Facebook 就唔會直播噶啦，就係 Edchin World 世界頻道啫。咁喺我隔離咧就有民運人士周鋒鎖先生。咁鋒鎖咧，我諗我應該係9年前啦，喺雨傘運動嘅時候咧就見過佢啦，咁亦都去咗D100個網台嗰度咧做嗰個節目，咁就今日咧喺加拿大嘅多倫多咧同佢傾下偈，因為咧東岸時間星期六咧就有一個嘅講座啦，咁跟住咧就係晏晝4點到6點半到啦，就喺加拿大多倫多Markham 市呢一個 Kennedy and Steeles 嗰度咧，咁鋒鎖就會大約5點到6點零鐘咧會出現喺嗰度，咁就會攞住一個國殤之柱嘅一個display， 咁就會同大家見面嘅。咁鋒鎖 ，My Mandarin is really terrible.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So better do it in English.
Sure. Yeah.
You were number 4 on the most wanted list, was it?
Number 5.
Number 5
Yeah.
Number 5喺天安門通緝犯之中咧，佢排行第5。So it's after 王丹、烏爾開西、柴玲、
劉剛
and then you have number 5.
Right.
And you, how long were you in jail?
I was in jail just 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
And they let you go.
Yes.
And after that, you left for the U.S. or?
No, not immediately. Even though I was released under international pressure, because it was the time when the U.S. Congress will debate and they approve on the most favored nation trade status
Right.
for China, and that's how I was released. But then I was told that I couldn't go back to school, even though I wasn't convicted of anything. I had to be re-educated at a very remote, poor place, just to remove from my
The democratic thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I just went through 1 year in prison, so I went through another year of that, and then I left Tsinghua with kind of associate degree, and in a way, looking back, I think the university was really trying to help me, but I was denied the passport. I couldn't leave China for 4 more years. Eventually, they let me leave. So while in China, I made money in the stock market and was basically financial free for a while, for China's very low standard at that time. And I was able to help other student leaders who were released later. And we actually financed a book called The Radical Change of Eastern Europe, basically talking about the unavoidable collapse of communism.
Right.
And of course that book was banned and all the books confiscated. So that's what I did in China.
You left in 95 then?
95, January 95. I came here, got my MBA, worked in financial industry. At the same time, I started my own NGO with another Tsinghua graduate called Humanitarian China.
Right.
So I've been doing that for almost 20 years. Now I'm executive director of human rights in China.
Right.
So this is my third month into the job. So there's a lot to do for me. Basically, my focus is always about people in China and what happened, and try to mobilize the grassroots activism here. Yeah, that's why I'm coming this weekend to talk to the young people and to also highlight like what we can do for this year's anniversary. Like you just talk about the huge banner. I have it.
Right. The Pillar of Shame, right?
The Pillar of Shame.
By Gao Ziwu.
Yeah.
Gao Ziwu.
Gao Ziwu, yeah.
Yeah.
So we did one last weekend at Times Square. When it was very crowded. The effect was astonishing. It's huge. I mean, and we. So I designed it, without testing. So we used an extendable cord and erected just right in the middle of Times Square. Almost 9 meters tall.
Right.
Yeah, like 3-floor buildings tall. It's really a great effect. Everyone was impressed. I hope people all over the world could do it with some creativity. You don't have to wait till the anniversary to do it. You can hang it at tall buildings. Just because it's a very effective way to tell people what happened in Tiananmen and what happened to Hong Kong. Because just last weekend, the Hong Kong police confiscated the sculpture, as evidence of subversion for the Hong Kong Alliance.
Well, building up a case against He Junyan, Li Zheyan, and Zhou Hengtong, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But this is ridiculous because they are doing this basically under national security law and all that. But this sculpture was designed in 97. It was erected around 97, 98. This was like 26 years ago. Now you are going back all over history to punish people. That's just how what kind of regime CCP is and what they are doing to Hong Kong people.
Gao Ziwu, the creator of the sculpture, well, he said he won't mind going back to Hong Kong to testify in court. And of course, we have a kangaroo court now.
Of course, it's a shame, for these people, these judges who serve in such kangaroo court. This is a tool of political driven persecution. There's no legal base for it. It's people, all the people in this system, the judges, people who work for that, they are just putting a veneer of legality, in something that's really arbitrary and cruel. Senseless. We cannot accept it. So I think this year we can do this, highlight this issue using this banner. It's a very effective vehicle to highlight the issues.
Okay.
And I have contact people all over the world, about 20 cities, and many Hong Kong groups too. Right.
Now, I want to ask you one thing. We met in 2014, and of course, with the enactment of the Guok An Fat national security law right now, Hong Kong's silence. You would never have expected Hong Kong would become something like China in such a short period of time, right? After 2019.
Yeah.
You won't expect that.
It's astonishing, I mean, even last year, how could you imagine that this is happening to Hong Kong in such a speed? It's like they are coming out with some ways to humiliate, to control people, to take away people's dignity, so that they are just submissive servants, slaves of the regime. It's just ridiculous.
In 1989, 民運人士, the student activists, how many were arrested? Now, in Hong Kong, more than 10,000 people were arrested, and then those who would be likely charged with NSL violation is over 200. Back in 1989, how many were arrested and charged and served a prison time?
We don't really have an exact count. I think in Beijing alone, there were probably thousands who were arrested.
Thousands.
And all over country. I mean, from what we know, like in every major city, there are like hundreds of people. And like even in every county, there were people who were arrested. So it's definitely in tens of thousands. But Hong Kong, it's much smaller. It's in terms of population. So the density that Hong Kong is becoming a prison city. From like Pearl of the East, basically. It's just very heartbreaking. And also, I mean, for anyone who is serious about what CCP is, just look at Hong Kong. That's what they want to do to Taiwan. That's what they want to do it all over the world.
Right.
CCP always has this global ambition. They want to be engineers of people's soul. They want to control, and that's what they are doing, and we are seeing it in Hong Kong.
What do you think is the best way to get the political prisoners out? 即係香港依家你知拉咗黎智英先生、戴教授同黃之鋒 and you met Benny Tai in 2014, I remember, and so many other political prisoners as well. Now, in your days, we see because China want to get into WTO, so they were they let some people go, right? It's a bargaining chip, like political. But it's like a swap of sorts. And then in 3 years ago, when Wang Wenzhou was arrested in Vancouver, Canada, they arrested the two Michaels.
Right.
So it's a prisoner swap of sorts. What do you think Hong Kong political prisoners, what's the most effective way for them to get out? Seriously. Most people think that Mr. Lai might not be able to get out, might die in prison, or even Benny Tai, or like a Panchen Lama, who it's I don't know where he is now. He was kidnapped when he was a kid, and nobody knows where he is. So what's the best way you think? You were like a veteran activist who came out, and now you are very outspoken. What do you think of the Hong Kong situation?
This is a very difficult situation. In all these years that we have worked on these cases, we have to raise awareness, tell the world of their stories. And most people don't know, for example, who Benny Tai is, who Jimmy Lai is. It's not just about Hong Kong. It's about human pursuit for freedom and dignity, and that's universal. Last year I did many screenings of the movie The Hong Konger featuring
Mr. Lai's movie.
Jimmy Lai.
Yeah.
And it's always very well received. So that's a kind of thing we can do to let the world know these great people, hero of Hong Kong. And so that's how we can build awareness of the society. But in terms of the government actions, I think sanctions definitely work. There are more sanctions against these people who are involved. We can definitely expand the list. We can also try to link the political persecution with the business, so that but we are losing the leverage now, because Xi Jinping feel like he can be complacent, because the economy is really quite big, even though it's not growing as fast. So like 30 years ago it was much more effective, but now there are still many like US companies doing business with such. I think we should try to apply pressure there too. For example, in the with South Africa, the boycott, the divest movement was very successful, and I think we should definitely try that. I think that hasn't been done enough. There is an emerging movement. I know like some US students are doing that, basically forcing the universities to divest from China. If this becomes a trend, I think this will cut basically the last support of CCP regime, the Wall Street, from providing CCP with the blood, basically, the investments. That's very important in the long run.
Okay. Now, one last thing I want to ask you. You have been out of the country, out of China, since 1995. So it has been a long time, almost 27 years? 28 years, right?
Yeah.
Do you miss going back to China? Do you want to go back one day?
Of course. Yeah, I there are a lot of people I care, and just over 1 billion people living in slavery. This is not what we can just close our eyes. For me, this is the most important challenge individually, and so there is definitely a sense of duty for me in it, and for that, I think if I go back to China, it has to be to push for political change. I will not go back China just to visiting friends, family, or to do business. No way. So
so you are very determined now about your cause. For the last mile, so to speak, right? Because we're all in our mid-50s. I know what year you were born, and this is the last race, right?
Yes. I feel blessed to have a good health, to be free financially, to be able to pursue what I can do. There's an urgency in me trying to mobilize more young people. That's what I'm doing now this weekend.
Okay. 嗱，咁我用廣東話講一講啦 because you will be at a gathering on Saturday, Toronto, New York time, between 4 to 6, but you arrive at around 5 to like 6-ish. Let's say 6:15, 6:30. You will showcase this 國殤之柱, the pillar of shame, in a big banner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you'll be doing, and the place it's on Steeles and Kennedy outside the so-called Pacific Mall. Steeles and Kennedy northeast corner， 即係嗰個叫做 Pacific Mall。如果你喺多倫多 Markham 嗰度 ，Steeles 及 Kennedy 嘅東北嗰個 corner 位，咁就阿周封鎖咧，星期六晏晝就會喺嗰度出現。請透過 patreon.com/@chin 支持我哋嘅製作同埋背後嘅工作，捍衛最後自由。